Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. It's been, I don't know, 8 months or so since I made a video. I've had some pretty major changes in the last little while since the last video. I got back in touch with paying attention to cycles and the timing of the year and the stations of the sun and stuff like that. And last Christmas kind of came and went, and I was kind of feeling like I was in a bit of a slump at Christmas time. That was the Christmas, the dawning of 2023. So, but I've been through enough years that I knew that New Year's resolution is not a good time to make a New Year's resolution, because it's like the lowest point of sun of the year, and it's the lowest point of solar energy of the year. And really the best time to make like a resolution for the year is actually Easter. Because Easter is when the sun does Passover, and it actually starts every day after Easter. You're starting to get more sunlight than darkness every day, and you can catch that solar energy from Easter up through summer. And anyway, so on Easter time, I performed a bit of a ritual, performed a bit of a sigil magic operation, and made a little bit of a declaration that I was gonna get my shit together. And the thing about chaos magic is interesting. Sometimes you don't know how things are gonna manifest when you do it. The results are expected, but sometimes the methods and the routes aren't expected. And after I made that declaration at Easter, and I went forward into the new year, like the Thalamic New Year anyway, after Easter, the first thing that came to me was like, I'm done being vegan. I've been vegan for 13 years, and shortly after that, I broke my vegan streak with a steak from the steakhouse, along with a bourbon. I had steak and bourbon, and I had a bourbon after being sober for about a year. I hadn't had any weed or any drink all for a full year. So I think the things that really led up to me discontinuing my veganism, the one that really tacked me in the heart, like the initial thing, was my children. My children were conceived, and my wife was pregnant, all vegan the whole time. They were vegan pregnancies, vegan births. They were raised vegan. They hadn't eaten any meat whatsoever. So I was watching my kids when I was at home, and my son's starting to get a little heavy, and my wife was feeding him nothing but like ramen noodles and toast, and like he wasn't eating anything. And I just knew that, man, if I keep this up, like this boy's gonna be in trouble, because he needs a greater diversity of food and nutrition, and he's just not I'm trying to force. You can force kids to eat fruit. Vegetables is fucking impossible. Like, you can watch all the YouTubes and Instagrams and bullshit that you want to see about feeding your kids this, that, and making them healthy, whatever. I'm living in a real world. I'm living a real life. I'm not living an Instagram life. I cannot get 3 children to fucking eat healthy, raw, nutritious vegan meals day in, day out. It's not happening. It's not happening. So there's that. And then there was my health. And I'd gained a lot of weight, and I tried to get back into the gym, and I was just weak. I was having a hard time lifting 25-pound dumbbells, curling them and stuff. Like, I was just weak. So I thought there would be more of a moral thing an ethical thing with the animals for me. I am an animal lover. I have always had pets. I love the animals. And I think me consuming animals, I didn't, 13 years veganism is not in vain, you know, like I learned a lot from that. And when I eat meat now, it's not like a joke to me. Like it's not, I don't just eat like silly clown wrapped, grease soaked, sugar dunked pieces of meat for fun, you know, like I'm very conscious about what it is I'm eating. You know, I've talked to people who, while I was vegan, and about the animal ethical portion of it, most people think like, I just don't think about it, you know, like I just don't think that I'm eating a cow or a chicken or whatever. But for me now, I'm very conscious about it. Like I'm very aware of what it is I'm eating and where it came from and how it came from it and etc. But my ancestors for thousands of years have been eating meat, and veganism is an experiment. It's an experiment. You know, I stayed alive for 13 years being vegan. It's doable. You can do it. Was I thriving? Me personally, no. Could you thrive on a vegan diet? I believe yes. But that comes to the second or third or whatever issue or reason I'm on. I've been drinking bourbon right now, so I might be a little stumbling. This is Angel's Envy. It's pretty good. I've never had it. We just got it up in Canada. It's pretty good. In Canada, in 2023, the inflation is so high and the value of dollar is so low, I can't afford to be vegan. I can't afford it. And that was the other thing. My daughters are sitting there eating Beyond Meat burgers, and I just told my wife, no. What all the girls want to eat is Beyond Burgers and Beyond Nuggets and shit. There's no fucking way that's healthy. That goop, that disgusting sloppy goop, there's no way that's better than eating steak and proper chicken nuggets. No fucking way. Not a chance. Right? So, and it's 3 times, 4 times the cost. So forget it. If we're going to be eating like this, go back. So I started the kids off lightly. My kids were 6, 8, 10 when they broke their veganism. Because I did it with the whole family. My wife and kids have been a little bit slower than me. I was right off. But my wife and kids have been slower. But we all started with eggs. They all did. They all started with eggs to try it and go light, and they've slowly worked into chicken and some steak and stuff like that. They're learning it, but they're really into all the girls have gotten into dairy. They've all been eating cheese, and we're full blown off of it, man. Full blown off of it. I don't really use a lot of milk, but I do consume some Greek yogurt or a skyr yogurt every day, maybe a third of a cup or a cup every day I make like a protein bowl with it. But I gotta say, man, within the first, it's been about 6-7 months now, I feel fucking incredible. I've been in the gym every day lifting weights, and I've had pretty good results with it. I have good energy. I feel strong. I'm not so tired all the time. So I don't feel that veganism was a completely failed experiment. I don't think that I could continue doing it. I learned a lot from doing it, and there's a lot about it. There's a lot of sentiments behind it that I don't disagree with, you know, like I don't want to just shit all over a lot of the reasons why I did. Okay, this is the major reason why I started veganism. I started it in 2010 after I'd watched a video documentary called Food Inc. or Food Incorporated, and that was specifically about the factory farming. And I had never considered at the time. I had never considered meat as animals, let alone the quality of the animals and that they were sick and just coming out of dirty factories and shit like that. So I became very aware and conscious of that. But then I went down kind of a path of discovery, and I read a book called The China Study, which then pretty much led me to believe that if I went vegan, I would not get cancer. And for me, that was the big thing, was because my grandfather had died of cancer. My father has had prostate cancer, and cancer to me is just such a terrifying, fucking mysterious thief in the night kind of a thing that I figured if all I gotta do is stop eating something and I completely avoid cancer 100%, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. Done. Vegan forever. I'll do it. But, and that still might be true. But here's the thing. I don't know anymore because it's 2023. I just sat through 2 years, almost going on 3 years of COVID fucking pandemic, watching the sheer idiocy and just the lies, the lie-soaked media of experts, and not just experts, the fucking health experts. And you can scientifically prove anything. I've come to learn that in the 21st century, in the modern age, scientists are the new lawyers. You don't just have scientists on this like plane of truth, and anything any of them do is a manifestation of truth. You know what I'm saying? You just hire a scientist to get them to prove whatever it is you want them to fucking prove. I can get a scientist to prove that I can shit gold somehow. Do you know what I'm saying? Fuck. So after I watched, and that's not some idea that I have. I watched it in real time. I watched it with the virus itself. I watched all of the political and scientific expert health bullshit between all the different remedies for COVID and the vaccines, and so you can't trust any of this anymore. Like, they've completely dismantled my trust in media, and I trust science, obviously, but scientists in the media claiming that you should do one thing or another with your health, I don't know. So that really made me second guess a lot of what I've learned about veganism. Because I gotta be honest with you, if I save 5 years of my life going vegan and being fat and tired and lethargic and broke, you know what? I'd rather thrive and cut my life 5 years shorter. As for the ethics of the animals, my ancestors have been eating meat for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. The ways I explain it to my wife, because she was very hesitant at first, but the way I explain it to her, because you get all of the classic vegan arguments, like a gorilla doesn't eat any meat, and look at the fucking gorilla, right? So I'm like, yeah. When I first thought of that, I was like, yeah, look at a gorilla. Holy fuck, thing's solid muscle. It doesn't need any meat. I don't eat meat, but I'm also not a fucking gorilla. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe we're close relatives somehow, but it's like this. This is the way I kind of see it. A tree will go straight up, right out of the ground, straight up, hold itself up. And that's in a tree's nature. But you know how you go to the bank of a river and sometimes you see that tree where it goes and branches off sideways and it's supported by a rock and it's being held up like that? You know, if you pull the rock out, the tree's gonna fall. But you could say, no, it's in a tree's nature. Tree just goes straight up. That is true, but this specific tree is being supported by a rock. And if you pull out the rock, the tree's going to fall. Just because it's in a tree's nature to go straight up doesn't mean necessarily every single tree that ever has existed doesn't need to be supported by a rock. And humans, it's scientifically proven, I don't know if proven is the right word, through anthropology and everything, like since we've been eating meat, it stopped us from having to chew on vegetables and shit all day long for nutrition, get high concentration. Our brains started growing after we eat meat. It helped in our evolution. So for you to just opt arbitrarily and just immediately opt out of it, you know, is likely going to come with consequences. But I'm not suggesting anyone who is vegan stop being vegan. And if you are vegan and you're watching this, before you poo-poo me, I was vegan for 13 years, son. I don't know how long have you been doing it. If you've been doing it your whole life and you're thriving, you know, keep doing it, man. You know, power on you, because there's a lot about it that I really, really respect. But if you've been vegan for 2 years and you're one of those activist vegans dumping milk all over the place, just making a fucking scene. Like, I was never an activist. I never fucking said nothing to nobody about it. I was very quiet about it. It was very personal to me. It was my body, my life, my experience, right? Yeah. So that's a little bit of a catch up, I guess. I don't want to make this video too long. I'd like to make shorter videos more often. So I'll when I get stumped like this, I'll stop and I'll make another video about something later. Love is the law. Love Underworld.